Mexico City just doesn't feel like a large city. One of the things that I admire about this city is just how much vegetation the whole city has compared to many other cities that I've visited in my lifetime. Good morning, everyone. I'm currently in Mexico City, in the suburb of Coyoacán, which is a small district, maybe 10 kilometers southeast of the downtown core of Mexico City. It's very close to La Condesa, Polanco, and all those areas, except that Coyoacán as a district is not very expensive. It's very, very middle class. This morning I figured I'd show you a little bit around. I want to show you the residential streets of Coyoacán, and you'll see that it's very homey. It doesn't feel like a city at all. There are a lot of little restaurants here and there and residential streets, and it's very relaxed and very quaint. In terms of traffic, depending on the time of the day, there is some traffic, but I mean, it's residential traffic mostly, so nothing major. I know that a lot of people say that Mexico City has a traffic problem, and yeah, for sure, they have a traffic problem, but I mean, it's something that they're working on. Personally, I think that Mexico City is a remarkable city. So anyways, let's take a look around. So one of the things, like I said, that I found here in Coyoacán, it's not like that everywhere in Mexico City, but certainly the neighborhoods, the districts that I've been in, I found that the vegetation is ample. There's really a lot of vegetation all around. We're not even talking about having a lot of parks. Frankly, sometimes it feels as though walking in the streets is a park. So it's I found that very interesting. And because there's a kind of a mixture between tropical and North American climate, it's very easy to find a mixture of North American vegetation as well as tropical, like palm trees and stuff like that. Yeah, so look at this typical example of the kind of vegetation that you would find. Tropical like palm trees mixed with other North American vegetation, and it's manicured. That's the fun thing that I like. It's all manicured. I think Mexicans love to landscape their their bushes and shrubs and stuff like that. Let's cross here. The streets here in the district of Coyoacán are filled with speed bumps. Well, most of the streets are. So they don't really have stop signs on street corners. They have speed bumps. So it's assumed that when you walk across the street, when you're at a crossroads, that people are going to have to slow down, basically, and that's essentially your cue to cross over. And like I said, Mexicans are, well, I mean, the Mexicans that I've encountered are amazingly polite. When I look at the vegetation here, it's a contrast from other cities. Like the last major city that I was in was in the Dominican Republic, in Santo Domingo. And, well, you don't really see much vegetation over there. At least I didn't find much inside the city. It's a different kind of city, for sure. If I compare Mexico City with compare it with a city like Montreal, Montreal has, I mean, yeah, it's got lots of parks. It does have vegetation, but not as much as we see here. So some people have been asking me about security in Mexico City. Since I've arrived in Mexico City, I have not once felt unsafe. I've never felt insecure being here. Now, mind you, maybe it has to do with the district that I'm in, the specific neighborhoods, the time of day where I actually go out. I think all of those things maybe play a role, for sure. I mean, all cities have their so where should I go? Let's go down this way. Actually, let's continue this way. Where are we right now? We're on Londres. Yeah, let's go this way. Yeah, okay. Yeah, like all major cities have their zones, right? Areas of the city where you probably don't really want to go and that kind of stuff. And Mexico City is no different. But you know, aside from that, I mean, Mexico City is very safe. There's a lot of police presence and security presence, and sometimes I wonder if it's warranted. Do they have this presence because there's really a crime problem, or is it the industry? Makes me think of the alarm, you know, the house alarm industry, where I used to live in a suburb of Montreal. I would occasionally get
¿Ya engatusaste a otra? No mames.
I would occasionally get some flyers from a company called ADT, an alarm company system, which exists here as well. This, by the way, is one of my favorite coffee shops. This is where I do a lot of my remote work. It's called Tierra Garat. Good place. Yeah, I used to receive these flyers from ADT, and I always wondered, why am I receiving these flyers? I mean, I live in a suburb where there's no crime, and it's not like there are some house break-ins or stuff like that. So, you have to wonder how much of a society's crime problem is perpetuated by, I don't know, the security industry. I know here in Mexico City, there was a time when maybe 10 years ago, there was a time when there was a high crime rate here in the city, which prompted a lot of changes, one of which was the security that you see around. Okay, so a lot of patrol cars and private security all over the place to this day. Okay, now is this warranted today? I don't know. I haven't been here long enough to really say if it's actually needed. But you have to probably conclude that those working in the security industry would be quick to say that it's still needed, which is kind of understanding, right? I mean, after all, they don't want to lose their jobs. In any event, it's no big deal. Like I said, I feel very safe here. I think women feel safe. The government has done a lot of changes to make women, the security of women, and the discrimination against women a central theme of Mexican society. For example, if you take the bus, right, take public transportation, like I did when I was in Tlalpan. So where should we go? Should we go this way? Or should we go this way? Or back up? So where are we right now? Right now we are on Avenida Berlin. Yeah, let's go back up this way and we're going to go all the way up. Yeah, let's go this way. So, yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, about the security establishment. People don't want to lose their jobs and all that kind of stuff. And I've been feeling pretty safe. Oh yeah, the transportation thing. I took the bus when I was in Tlalpan. And one of the things that something happened while I was when I tried to take the bus. I tried to take the bus, but I couldn't until a security officer finally explained to me why I wasn't able to get on the bus. And the reason is because women board the bus at the front and men board the bus in the rear. And this is done for reasons of sexism and sexual abuse and unwanted touching and that kind of stuff. So I was trying to get on the bus at the front end, and I didn't even notice that there were only women at the front of the bus. And one woman was telling me, "Oh, you have to leave." She was telling me that in Spanish. So I was getting off, and then the bus would take off, and then the next bus would come along, and I would do the same thing. And again, I was told, "Oh, you can't get on the bus." And then finally, a good-natured transit security guy came up to me and explained to me why. And that's when I realized that I have to take the bus on the rear end of the bus. Now, the buses in Mexico City are always jammed packed. I took the bus once and I never took it again. I never took it again because when you get on the bus, you are literally squished inside the bus. It's standing room only, and basically it's body to body squished. So I can understand why women would be at the front of the bus and men would be at the back of the bus. So all of that notwithstanding, I found the experience of taking the bus, not that great. So from that time on, I continued using Uber or Didi. And transportation is really not that expensive compared to where I'm from. Anyways, it's not expensive. Yeah, let's go this way. I just love all of these terraces, and one of the things I don't like about Mexico City, and it could be an issue, I think, culturally, like across the continent, and not specifically to Mexico, but I've seen it here in Mexico, is the establishments tend to open up late. So if you're an early riser and your plan is to, I don't know, like go out for breakfast, then I think that you'll be unpleasantly surprised to see that not much is open early in the morning. Very often you'll see signs on the door saying that they open from 8 to whatever, 8 in the morning to, I don't know, let's say 6 p.m. or whatever. But when you go in, the first thing they tell you is, oh, no estamos abierto, right? We're not open. And then, you tell them, well, that the sign on the door says that you're open. So why are you not open? But I think for a lot of these establishments, when they say that they open at 8, what they really mean is that the doors open at 8 for the employees to get the place set up. Because remember, Mexico City is a city where like it's never too cold to eat outside, right? So regardless of the time of the year, you always have terraces. So restaurants are always getting their stuff set up for their terraces. So when they say they open the doors at 8, well, for many of them, especially the small ones, the larger establishments, not so much. They tend to be a lot more perhaps business oriented. But the smaller establishments, they're the ones who tend to open up like a certain time, and then it's basically for the purposes of setting up shop, right? Getting the tables out and you know, like sweeping the floors and all that kind of stuff. Usually takes about an hour to 2 hours before the kitchen actually opens. You know what I like about Mexico City, really, is that in spite of the fact that it's a super large metropolitan center, you don't feel the stress of these large cities. Even in Santo Domingo, I have to admit, Santo Domingo is not really one of my favorite cities because it's a very loud city. I actually did a video on that where I talk a little bit about the El Millón neighborhood and walking down towards more of the like Churchill Avenue areas and all that kind of stuff. And I was talking about the noise level over there. So Santo Domingo is not my favorite place, but in spite of that, even Santo Domingo is a stress-free zone. People honk a lot on their bikes and their cars, but they don't do it out of stress. I think they do it actually out of habit. And here in Mexico City, I just find that it's remarkable that a city with suburbs of over 22 million inhabitants are not more stressed than they are. When I arrived in Mexico City, I arrived at the airport north of the city, the new airport. I forgot the name now, but I arrived at that airport, and it took almost 3 hours to drive down to my Airbnb, which was in the Tlalpan area, which is the largest district. Tlalpan is the largest district of Mexico City, and because of the traffic. And I was sitting there in the car looking around, and one of the things I noticed as I was in the car going through all this traffic is just how chilled out people were on the road. Yeah, I mean, there's honking and stuff like that, but there's honking out of anger, and then there's honking because, well, I'm here, move out of the way type of thing. What do you think of this street? I think it's these cobblestones are really, really nice. We're approaching the center of Coyoacán. So yeah, for a large city like Mexico City to be this stress-free really adds to the comfort of living here. I mean, I'm only here on a 6-month visa, which is going to be ending soon. But the time that I've been here so far has been quite been really, really nice. This is a nice little market. Unfortunately, I can't be filming in there. People don't like it. Anyways, let's go this way. So apart from vegetation, which I found to be really nice here at Mexico City, and the fact that it's stress-free, another thing that I really noticed, it's hard not to notice it actually, is the cost of living. I've said it in the past and I'll say it again, Mexico City is a remarkable middle-class society. So yeah, restaurants are not expensive at all, very, very affordable compared to North American cities. And let's go this way. So yeah, restaurants are cheap. Groceries, I mean, look, in your part of the world, I don't know how much it costs to purchase a grilled chicken. And when I say in your part of the world, I'm talking about a part of your world that is perhaps similar in metropolitan growth. Like if I compare, for example, Mexico City to Montreal, well, in Montreal you can get a grilled chicken for approximately, well, when I left Montreal, they were selling these chickens in the grocery stores for maybe $12, $12.99, $13, in that range. Here in Mexico City, there are so many places where you can get like a complete grilled chicken, you know, for something in the neighborhood of $5 Canadian, which is remarkably cheap. So there are a lot of little cafe shops, and we're really, like, we're in the center right now of Coyoacán. So yeah, you're starting to see a lot of souvenir shops and stuff like that. From a budget standpoint, for a single individual, you can live here in Mexico City easily on no more than, let's say, $1,500 Canadian. Maybe even less, probably less, because I've been, I mean, all the trips that I do, all the traveling that I do is 100% through Airbnb. And I spend a lot of time online trying to find the best deals for Airbnb. And it's not easy, but most of the time I'm able to find some good deals. But Airbnb is more expensive than if you, let's say, rented a place for 6 months or a year. So this is why I'm saying if you actually signed a lease for 6 months or a year, you could live probably for well under $1,500 Canadian. I think in a city like Montreal, it's getting increasingly difficult to have the same kind of a deal. I mean, in the suburbs of Montreal, yeah, you might find some, you know, you might still be able to find some worthwhile, you know, rental places. But the thing is that Montreal, the transportation is it's not cheap. I'm going to be doing a video on life in Montreal, probably in April of next year. I'm going to be doing a video what it's like to live in Montreal. For those people who are thinking of coming to Montreal, that's a video to watch. So there you go, we're in the center of Coyoacán. Very nice. There's a cathedral here in the background, right up here. This is a 16th century cathedral. Very nice. I'm not a religious buff, but I am a historical buff. I love history and I love architecture. And the inside of that church is very, very nice. It's a very nice cathedral. Let's go take a quick look just at the entrance. Look at this. '16th century artwork. Quite nice. So yeah, this area of town, because it's touristic, you're gonna find more expensive restaurants. Yeah, very touristic area. But you know what? When it comes to expensive restaurants, that's the thing. When you're in a metropolitan center of over 22 million people, it's amazing how competition works. You know, I've spent quite a bit of time in La Condesa, and restaurants over there tend to be expensive, more expensive than they are even in this touristic area of Mexico City. And in spite of the expenses of La Condesa, I would always find restaurants. Okay, so I had a little battery problem here. Not a battery problem, but a heat problem. That's the unfortunate thing about GoPro, is that they overheat. Even though right now it's no more than 17 degrees or 18 degrees, so it's not like I'm on the beach or anything like that. But despite that, the GoPro overheats. The heat sink that they're using is total crap. So anyways, let me try to finish this video, see how far I get. So I don't remember what I was saying last. Do you remember? If you remember, put a comment, and I'll try to add an addendum. Anyways, so I think I was saying something to the effect that here in Coyoacán and other very popular districts of Mexico City, you find all kinds of prices. You know, you can find expensive restaurants in one area of the neighborhood, and you just cross the street and you'll find the same type of restaurants for half the price. That's very common. When I was in, I'll tell you, this is funny. When I was in Santo Domingo, I was looking for one of those tactile pens with the rubber end that you use to navigate with your phone instead of using your finger. And I couldn't find any. And finally I was at one of the malls. I think it was Blue Mall or another close by mall. And there was an electronics shop that had these tactile pens. And they were selling these pens for the equivalent of $35 Canadian. I thought it was a joke, literally. You know, especially since you can normally buy these pens for, you know, like $1, $2 at most. And if you buy them on Amazon, you can buy them in bulk for practically nothing. So that was an amazing experience, which told me a lot about the Dominican Republic, especially Santo Domingo. Here in Mexico City, I have not encountered a single instance where I felt like I was being taken advantage of because I'm a tourist. I've been in tourist shops, restaurants, and look, I mean, my Spanish is okay. I mean, I get around, but I'm not fluent. I have a lot of difficulty understanding Spanish, so it's not like the locals would think that I'm a local, not by a long shot. And yet, in spite of that, they never took advantage of me from the standpoint of price or otherwise. So we're walking back down towards the more residential areas. Let's go down this street, which is one of the more popular residential streets. There we go. Let's just get in line in the traffic, bumper to bumper. Just kidding. It's just one car trying to park. Look at this street. Isn't that nice? Cobblestone, surrounded by trees and vegetation, and it's awesome. When you walk on the street early in the morning and there's some fog, oh, it's amazing. Really, really nice. Temperature-wise, Mexico City is fresh at night and in the morning. Usually around maybe 12 degrees Celsius. Sometimes it goes down to a little bit lower than that. The coolest I've had is 9 degrees Celsius. And then at some point during the day, like around 10, 11, in that range, it starts to get cooler. It starts to get warmer. There we go. So the residential areas of Coyoacán has a lot of schools, a lot of elementary schools and high schools. I haven't seen any universities in this particular area, but if you go in a more like less residential areas, then that's when you start to see universities, and there are quite a few of them. All right. More vegetation that you typically don't see in other larger cities. Gomez Farias. We're back to my area of Coyoacán. That's where my Airbnb is. Here's another quaint little restaurant, neighborhood restaurant. All right, let's cross over here. Mexico City has a lot of dogs. Boy, I tell you, Mexicans love their dogs. I don't know if so many have dogs for security reasons. Another nice street. Or if they have dogs simply because, well, they love dogs. I think maybe at some point in the past, maybe 10 years ago, people were getting dogs for security reasons, to prevent break-ins and stuff like that. When Mexico had a right-wing government, things were very different. Mexicans are now, like the locals here are telling me that ever since they've had a left-wing government, Mexico City has been changing, and has been changing for the better. And I believe it because let's let that bus cross over. I believe it because when I look around, walking the streets here of Coyoacán, late afternoon, I see a lot of youngsters in restaurants and coffee shops and bars and stuff like that. And it's not just like couples; they're large groups, and they're happy. You know, and at some level, you have to wonder, you know, how is it possible that these restaurants are full? Well, they're full because the prices are very middle class. It's more affordable. And I've been told that it wasn't always like that. The government here has been doing changes. Another neighborhood restaurant. Okay, so we're getting closer to my Airbnb. Anybody who wants to visit Coyoacán, there aren't many Airbnbs that are close to the center of Coyoacán that I've been able to find anyways. I found one, which is the one that I'm staying at right now, and I'm not paying much for it. For a full month, I don't remember the price, but it's I think it's around $6.95, or it's in the upper 600 Canadian, which is a very good price. And what I'm getting is my own private room. The room has a microwave and a large fridge. And I also have access to the rest of the shared apartment, which is like the living room and the kitchen. I have access to all of that as well. But my room has all the essentials. Right? Microwave, large fridge, TV, and I also have my own private bathroom. It's a shared apartment. However, the owner of the apartment, they have their own. They've got their own bathroom, their own private bathroom, and I've got my private bathroom, which is nice. And I'm very close to a grocery store, maybe 10 minutes. 10 minutes to get there, 10 minutes to get back. I typically don't do much cooking when I'm in an Airbnb. I like having chicken and salads and stuff like that. But I usually buy grilled, like already grilled chickens. So yeah, we're here on my street. I'm just going to show you the outside of my Airbnb. I'm not going to film inside. I don't want to. I mean, this is a shared apartment, and the lady who lives there, well, she lives alone. So for security reasons, I don't want to. I don't want to show the inside and create a security concern. It's also the reason why I'm not mentioning the street. And also, I don't think Airbnb, I'm not sure that they accept people divulging the areas. Well, like filming. You can film the inside of an Airbnb typically, but I don't think they want people to show the address and the exact location and that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I'm here at my Airbnb. This is where I go in actually. I go in this way. It's a nice area. Street is quiet, and like I said, it's not very expensive. So for me, it's pretty darn good. My next video is going to be maybe 30 minutes north from here. I'm going to be staying at a place that is close to the northern bus terminal, from where I'm going to be doing a video on the historical center of Mexico City. And from there, I'm going up to, I'm also going to be doing a video on the pyramids. Pyramids of the moon and pyramid of the sun, which is maybe 1 hour east from the Airbnb where I'm going to be at. So I'm going to be taking the bus to get there. And then, I'm only going to be there, I'm only going to be in that area of town for maybe 4 days. And after that, I'm leaving Mexico City and I'm heading north. I think it's called Guanajuato, something like that. It's supposed to be one of the most colorful towns in Mexico. So yeah, I'm probably going to be there for a whole month, maybe even more. I'll see. And after that, I'm heading back to Montreal for a month to prepare myself for my next trip, which will probably be Europe. Yeah. Anyway, so that's it. Hasta luego.